What is up, guys and girls? It's Nick, also known as Born Gamer, and as you can tell by the description, I have some very up-to-date news about Assassin's Creed. For those of you that have not seen it already, I'm going to put a link in the description. I'll probably throw an annotation in right about now, give or take, I'm not sure. I'm going to try and get this video out as quick as possible. And for those of you that haven't seen it yet, I just watched the Ubisoft press conference of during E3. And they had a lot of information on Assassin's Creed 3, and that's obviously what's pertaining to this. That's why you clicked on the video. So without further ado, let's get down to it. Make sure that you have watched that video. If not, this might not make as much sense to you. So, alright, I'm going to give you 3 seconds. 3, 2. Alright, you better watch it. Alright, the very first thing I noticed during their press conference is that obviously the eagle, the bird, of course, has been a huge staple in the Assassin's Creed series, and for those of you that aren't American, you'd want to know that the bald eagle, as I show in the video, is like, I don't really know how to say it. I guess you could say like the national mascot, yeah, I guess national mascot's a good description of it. So yeah, so I think that the eagle it's almost like they planned it this way, but it's just kind of, it's before always just been kind of like a cool symbolic purpose for the assassins, like the whole eagle vision, all that, but now it just kind of seems to make a lot of sense, especially being in America. So just want to clear that up for those of you that weren't really sure or getting the full significance of the bald eagle. Another thing that they showed in both the gameplay and the very opening cinematic is that what you may have thought when you saw the American Revolution is, hey, everybody's got a gun, like, aren't they just going to shoot me and I'm going to die? Well, what it seems to be, or a new game mechanic, or maybe a skill that you acquire, is timing the volleys. So Revolutionary War kind of fighting like that was always like the lining up in big lines and taking shots at each other, like taking turns, the gentleman's game. And Connor seems to take advantage of this, especially the long reload times that it takes for them to get their muskets. So that seems to have dispelled any worries that they had about, possibly getting shot. So it just seems like a timing. I'm not sure if there was a prompt. I think there might have been a prompt later on in the video kind of telling you, like, hey, these guys are about to fire, or maybe you can just see that they're pointing their guns at you. Who knows? So, yeah. The next thing I was curious about is this: every Assassin's Creed game has had these awesome trailers, Like, you're always just like, oh, damn, that would be so sweet if that was in-game. And, I'm really wondering, because Assassin's Creed 3 really seems to be stepping up the game so far in the production, because they have so many people working on it. Are these the new cutscenes? I know that they're obviously going to be, slightly downgraded for the little talking portions, but if this is anywhere close, even half as good as what the in-game cutscenes are like, I'm sold. Like, the character animations looked awesome, the voices were just downright perfect, and oh, God, I'm so excited. October, please come with me. Come to me, I should say. The next thing that they talked about, or I should say that they re-emphasized, was that, once again, George Washington and Ben Franklin, very big historic figures during this time, of course, are, of course, going to be playing a huge role in the game, but we all knew about that. Something else that they showed, and this was starting to be in the very first bit of gameplay that they were showing, if you noticed, he used grass as a hidden group, so no longer do you have to be standing next to, a bunch of people, or just in some random hay bale, or like in the first game, jump in that giant box with the random curtain over it. Yeah, you can finally just, use the environment, and that seems to be kind of the name of the game in this one. No pun intended, because, it's a game. But the environment seems to play a huge role. Like, I don't know if you saw, like, just the amount of tree jumping. Like, it is the most fluid thing I've ever seen. Like, right away, you'll notice that when Connor, the new protagonist, is walking through the snow, he's got to step really high, and he's going extremely slow. But as soon as he gets into the trees, he just starts gliding. So it almost seems like, I want to say aerial adventuring, aerial parkouring, climbing, jumping, all that kind of stuff is going to be the fastest way to travel through the wilderness. What also happened, for those of you that saw or didn't see, is Connor was on a hunting mission. and later he does get paid for getting the meat, as he said it. I'm not sure if maybe the deers had pelts too. I'm not sure how that works exactly. They didn't really get too specific on that, but Connor hunts some deer, and it's a very, very awesome chase sequence where he tries to cut them off and runs through trees and climbs up a cliff, and it is just, oh, it's so beautiful. Very, very beautiful. But as he is skinning, I should say, or taking the pelt or the meat of the deer, or elk, I'm not really sure exactly what it is, he gets attacked by wolves. I counted 3 wolves, and he used both his gun and knives on these, so he doesn't really seem to care too much about, like how he kills the wolves. I'm not sure if maybe there's some other mechanic in the game where you can get their pelts, but he didn't really seem to care too much about that. And like I say, he was attacked right away after he got that. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a main occurrence. Like every time you hunt something down, you have to fight off, kind of like, if like just the scavengers trying to steal your kill, as it is the wild. So that's something to look into. If maybe you always have to think in the back of your mind, like, hey, I might get attacked here, so if by chance you don't have enough medicine, like, hey, is it really worth trying to, get this pelt, or I might die from it. So I thought that was really interesting. Something else that they showed is when Connor was walking to a small village, or camp, it looked more like, he was asked by a medicine man to get him some supplies. I think he was talking about mercury. That's what it sounded like. I'm not really sure why you'd want mercury as a medicine, but then again, it was the 18th century, so I believe, 18th, yeah, that's right. So it seems like side missions are going to be a bit more integrated, and I don't know, I didn't really feel the side missions the last couple games, so if they could bring a bit of life to it, that'd be great. Extend my play time a little bit, because it seems like I'm going to be playing this a ton. Why not just make me play it for the rest of my life? So as Connor was leaving the town, another thing that got me really excited was what he did. He jumped on a horse. And the horses seemed to, at least in this case, didn't seem to be affected very much by the snow. I might have just not have anything to compare it to. I actually don't remember if it was sprinting, so that might have been an exclusion due to the snow. However, that's not really that important. If you know, or if you played Revelations and any games before it, you know that every game had horses, except for Revelations, which is kind of a disappointment for me. I almost kind of credited that to the fact that they didn't really have a big world to explore, such as, Brotherhood was completely necessary to have faster travel. So yeah, horses are back, and maybe they'll make snow travel a little bit easier, because I have no idea how big the wilderness is. I just hear that it's very, very big, so horses might be more common than in any other game, so that's cool. Another thing, there's a lot of other things, but oh my gosh, I was just taking notes. It was beautiful. I want another trailer. I want more. But Connor, like I said before, he attacks a group of British soldiers. He attacks a group of British soldiers, and what he does, he kills one of them, and he grabs the body and waits for all the other soldiers to shoot their volleys into the soldier that he had just killed, like a human body shield. And after that, they all charge him with their melee weapons, like their bayonets, and I think a couple of them had hatchets, if not the majority of them, actually. So that just seems like further reinforcement that the way to avoid guns is to, avoid that initial volley and then force them into melee combat, as in getting their shots out and then rushing them. The trailer also seemed to really show this, that Connor doesn't seem to waste time in getting his kills, especially in the open, because the guns are such a large factor in life or death. So I thought that was cool. And something else they showed was when he did his counter kill, his automatic, I'm assuming it was just mashing the square button, because it was, the counter button in Xbox is the X button. So he got more than one kill. I'm not sure if maybe the guy was mashing X when he was, or square when he was doing the gameplay, the demo, but it kind of seems like they were chained together. So that was definitely cool. And maybe is the counter to having so many different so many enemies. So who knows? It'll be interesting to look in the future gameplay. Something else, there's just so many something else's. This list I have is incredibly long. Is the rock climbing. Like Connor, I guess that, he doesn't really care about ice. And by the way, in this video, I have no idea how I didn't see that stun. That was horrible. And poisoned. Yeah, he doesn't really seem to care about if there's ice. He was climbing up a big snowy cliff, which I figure is probably impossible, but we're just going to have to let that go to the fun of the game, because he scaled the side of a cliff and just grabbed like a vertical crevice or crack in it and just completely just climbed up the wall, and oh, it was, once again, it was beautiful. So yeah, definitely seems to be a bit more wildernessy. That's confirmed. The gameplay has completely quelled any concerns I had with the forest and running around. It seems even better than, you know, any of the cities in Rome or that especially in the last couple years. Probably the biggest change since Assassin's Creed 2, which is appropriate because it's 3. Something else I just want to add is that there was an explosion, and it looked like there was in-game explosions, and it seemed to be happening in real time as opposed to some kind of crappy pre-programmed thing like they had. And yeah, other than that, a lot of reconfirmed information. Definitely stay tuned to my channel for more, and until next time, guys, I'll see ya. Oh yeah, by the way, don't forget to follow my Twitter. That's where you can get the best updates for my channel. Alright, see you guys.